Hello, and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast Live. Tom and I got a lot to talk about today. The John Cena heel turn. Is it what we expected it to be as we are now 3 weeks deep? Still haven't watched Raw, even though it was on earlier this afternoon. But, the internet has spoken a little bit. The Rock has some flight issues. RVD kind of takes a poo-poo on AEW. Linda Hogan bears all over the old Twix machine. Lots to talk about. Can't wait to have at it. See you on the other side. Maybe, because now my computer doesn't want to work. It's Tom's fault. There it is.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
I forgot how cartoonishly animated Tyler Bate is.
That's the Mustache Mountain.
His mustache is looking phenomenal. I guess.
Excuse me, sir. I mustache you a question.
Nice for him to come back while they're literally in his hometown. He's like, oh yeah, I could be at the arena at 6.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll stop by.
I'm just at my mom's house.
Yeah, I'll stop by. Hey, speaking of, I heard Aleister Black we're not going to see until Friday, April 26th. That's after WrestleMania. I think we kind of saw that coming.
I feel like that made sense. It was the timing was just, he's too big of a deal to come back and be inserted. Like I want to see him do something cool, and he's a Triple H guy. Yeah, hopefully not that. Hopefully they take away the coffin noise.
Come and knock on my door.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? Nobody knocked on the door. He just went to AEW and changed his name. He wasn't the guy that was wrestled in Dusseldorf, Germany.
That's not Tommy End.
That's not Tommy End.
That still has to rank up there with one of the largest botches.
I don't know how you fucked that up so bad. Like that, it was so bad.
And everything was so perfect because, everybody thought he was on a 90-day, but here he was only on a 30-day because of NXT loophole.
And he fucked up.
And just
be fucked up.
The old mass crusader of AEW commentary.
Man, he could not wait to take his foot and put it in his own mouth and up his own ass. You got to be, to be fair, you got to give Excalibur credit. It is really hard to put your foot both in your mouth and up your own ass at the same time. And boy,
you know what they say? He's got the abilities of a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. You know what I'm saying?
Man, did he fuck that up? Like that is up there. Because that's one of those things, like, if you were to watch that without commentary, you'd be like, that was a tremendous debut. You watch it with commentary, you're like, what the fuck just happened? Who's Tommy End? Why is it not Tommy End?
What about Dusseldorf, Germany?
What about Dusseldorf, Germany? Where the fuck are we? Because I think they were still at Daly's place.
Yeah, I believe so.
Like, what are we talking about?
The Dark Knight of Dusseldorf.
See, that was just us making fun of him.
I know, but I mean, it's great. I still have the T-shirt design for the Dark Knight of Dusseldorf.
I don't think, like, I don't know that AEW, Aleister Black or Malachi Black never recovered from that. But honest to God, I don't know that AEW ever recovered from that either.
Well, AEW has been in the news quite a bit this week. Not because of their wrestling, that's for sure.
We got another pay-per-view coming up this Sunday. I don't think I'm going to watch that one.
Probably not. Please hold. Can you still? Thank you. It's okay. My ambient lighting was just shut off.
Oh, the ambiance has changed.
Don't mind my clothes basket right there.
Shit, I forgot they're still closing the drive. I've closed that.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. It's that kind of. It's been that kind of week.
So I guess The Rock was supposed to be at SmackDown on Friday or
He was.
Raw last Monday or
If he was supposed to be at SmackDown, that may explain why SmackDown was just a nothing burger. Because they feel it was, man, it was 3 hours of, wow, they really didn't have anything today, did they?
Well, I had read this week that like some executives and like creative officials are like really disappointed with SmackDown being a 3-hour show because they feel like it's just jammed full of filler and nonsense instead of showcasing young talent. Like I think that they kind of led us to believe was going to be the thing, but at
Well,
the
that's what
same
they
point,
did at first, and then all of a sudden it just became like we yeet for 20 minutes every show now, and it's like,
well, that's Monday.
but no, he's on Fridays too, Tom. Like he's everywhere. So, but it's I mean, it was just like a bunch of stuff that I mean, it was good. I mean, but it was like I watched it on replay, so I fast forwarded through like a lot of it. Some of the matches were good. I appreciate that Chelsea Green has that Chelsea Green has a tag team under her now. There's like a whole. She's got her own little DX USA faction.
The Secret Hervis.
Yeah, the Secret Hervis. I love it. I think it's great. Ashley heard it and went, ugh.
I think it's funny.
I think it's awesome. I think everything. It sucks that like she keeps or actually, so this Friday, Michin got beat by Charlotte Flair, which I think is a better turn. It's better for Michin to get beat up by Charlotte as opposed to like almost beating Chelsea every week. This is a better getting her ass whooped by Charlotte was a better. But man, was that not the most mediocre of Charlotte Flair matches that I've ever seen.
Well, that's because your best friend Michin was in that match.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan.
You still think she's super cringy?
Absolutely. It wasn't as bad because she was getting beat, but man, they didn't hand her a microphone either, which is good. Like Charlotte got to talk, and then Charlotte beat her. So, but she's super cringy. It's just not. It ain't clicking for me, brother.
That's not gonna work for me, brother.
It's not gonna work for me, brother.
Chelsea Green. It's just not the same since country music celebrity Samantha Irvin has left. Speaking of, her and Pretty Ricky got married this past weekend.
They did. I saw that. It was very nice. It
looked like a very intimate ceremony. Like there was like 12 people in attendance.
Yeah, and then they like walked outside and there were some fireworks. I don't know that those fireworks were for them exactly. Maybe they just got married around where some fireworks were going to go off. But that's nice for them. I'm happy for them. I like them as a couple and both of them individually for their talents. Man, ring announcement has not been as good without Samantha Irvin.
I disagree. I think that Steve Michael Nash that's on SmackDown now has
did fine on
great
Friday.
job.
He did fine on Friday. Lillian Garcia still messes up a lot.
Well, Lillian Garcia is now part-time, so that doesn't really matter. So, AKA she filled a hole until they figured something out.
Yeah.
But doesn't really feel like they figured anything out.
No, not really. Not on Monday.
So, I mean, I don't know. What's her nuts? So, the Alicia chick's on Mondays now.
Yeah. But it was, oh, yeah, you're right, because they sent, what's his name? The new guy's on Friday. Alicia's on Monday. And she's and Lillian Garcia is the backup. That's how
I'm gonna tell you what, bub. These allergies are kicking my fucking ass. And if this is any goddamn indication of what this spring and summer's gonna be like, I'm in for a long fucking couple of seasons here.
I went to the ENT doctor today, and he puts like the stuff in your nose that you're not supposed to put up there a lot because like otherwise you can't breathe without it. And I was like, holy shit, this is what it feels like to be able to breathe out your nose. Like, this is what the rest of you feel like all the time. It's unbelievable. I like the back of my throat is getting dry with how much air is coming in. I feel like I've done cocaine. I'm like,
that's called nasal drip.
Whatever. I feel like I've done cocaine because my brain is so much.
Have you ever done cocaine to know?
No. feel like very awake.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, shit.
Maybe it would help my nose breathe more during the general times if I did cocaine. I hear it's low in calories.
I mean, all you got to do is ask Tony Khan, because he just certainly seems to just be all week. You know what I'm saying? Probably,
he's not a heavy guy.
Probably on quite the bender right now with everything that's been going on. It's been officially announced that Ray Fenix will make his WWE debut on Friday.
That's exciting. I like that they're keeping Penta's on Monday and Ray's going to be on Friday.
I agree also.
I think that's a neat, because obviously you can bring them together at some point, but Penta's on a run right now, and he's got a WrestleMania match where he's gonna probably win the United States Championship,
Intercontinental
Championship. Sorry. No, he just lost that, but then it's gonna be a triple threat match. Anyway,
yeah, it's gonna be a fatal 4-way. I thought that's what the internet is abuzz, that Dom's gonna get added to that last minute.
I mean, it hasn't happened yet. Wait, I think Dom. I would love it if Dom won the IC Championship. That would be amazing. In fact, I think that's what needs to happen. Dom needs to win, and then Balor turns on him, and I think that would be. Let's do that. Let's put gold on Dom. Dom deserves gold. If anybody deserves gold, it's Dom. Dom deserved gold more than I would say even Jey Uso deserves gold.
See, the internet disagrees with you on Jey Uso, and we talked about that last week. So, if you haven't heard that episode, please circle back. You can find it here in the YouTube, if you so wish and desire, or you can check us out wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Man,
Spotify, Apple Talk.
I'm getting real good here. Like
you are. You're just knocking them out.
I'm like a fucking pro these days.
You are. We got Big Jim, Jay.
Hey, listen, whatever you do with your Big Jim and Jay is none of my business. Okay? I just
run the podcast, damn it. Leave me alone. Got my samurai man bun going on here.
And my cheap wine spritzer. I feel been a very classy broad recently.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, barefoot, yeah.
Yeah, a little red Moscato, a little $7 bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And then we take this little wine glass here, and then what we'll do is we'll fill it about little more than halfway. Okay.
And we're fancy.
See, a little bit more than halfway, right? And then we'll take some of this here, right?
Oh, yes, I see.
And then we'll just add that to the mixer here, Boom, all the way to the top.
Walt, you're a regular human bartender over
right
there.
And then we'll just boom, look at that. And then
I don't think that's supposed to be filled to the top.
And then I get 3 drinks out of a bottle.
Yeah. I love that a bottle of those has been $7 for it is fucking inflation proof. That shit was $7 a bottle when we were in college.
Yeah.
It's been 20 goddamn years, and that shit is still $7 a bottle.
And I mean, they've come out with some new flavors like this red Moscato.
Yeah.
And then
innovating.
They have a sweet red blend, which is very succulent and plucky.
Somehow, Barefoot Wine and Arizona Iced Tea are the only brands that are immune to inflation, immune to price increases. That shit's been $1 for a can and $7 for a bottle for literally as long as I can remember having money and having to pay for things. Hi, Random Edits 1515. I'm Cody's hero because Cody told John Cena that he was still his hero, but that he was also an asshole. And John Cena picked on him for cursing. Told him his head was full of feces.
Feces.
Oofles.
Instead of facts.
Is that how that works? Fucking Batteries Plus commercial. Eat a dick. Anyway.
So, I brought him up, old Cocaine Tony, but, and then we talked about Ray Fenix. But that's not the only thing that's going on this week with him. You know what I'm saying? Paige The internet has speculated because Saraya has announced via Instagram that her and AEW have mutually parted ways.
Man, if that wasn't the biggest wet fart, I mean, that may have been the most fruitless signing of AEW. It was Saraya.
Saraya said on her podcast, I don't know, maybe if there's something cool that comes along and they would want me back there, maybe, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Never say never.
Wow, we know who said that.
She goes on to say, Paige, Paige, Paige. She repeated when asked how she'd return. I felt like I could leave that character at the door. I love being Saraya, but with Paige, though, I felt like I built such a special thing with her. She was a badass. I loved being her, and she has built my entire life. I got a movie made about Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Dave would go on to later speculate that WWE would likely clear Paige to wrestle.
Holy
so
shit.
My question is,
your question is, what am I supposed to fanboy about Paige coming back? I don't know that Paige has a spot in present day WWE.
I don't know that Charlotte has a spot in present day WWE. Yet there she is.
I mean, that's fair, but like both of them today, like now, I feel like both of them is a like there's room for one or the other. Maybe if Charlotte like tears an ACL, you bring Paige in again. Yeah, you bring Paige in for that nostalgia pop. I hope she doesn't, because I tell you what, regardless of how regardless of what you feel about
I'm here to sell propane and propane accessories.
Exactly. Regardless of how you feel about Charlotte Flair and her work as, you know, a wrestler or whatever, her recovery and her documentation of said recovery on Instagram was nothing short of inspirational. It was.
Fuck her.
I'm just saying, man. Like, that shit is hard. And she came back.
So was the shit that I took before we started this podcast. But you don't hear me down here fucking celebrating and documenting on Instagram.
Fiber.
Who needs fucking fiber? I'm fueled on alcohol and fucking caffeine.
I mean, generally things that are brewed or fermented or just plain water, which is what ice is made out of.
What kind of whiskey are you drinking?
This is just regular Jim Beam.
Oh, a little white label in your life?
Yeah, it was.
That's like a ballsy sipper, bub. You know, like it's not a terrible sipper, but
I mean, with a big ass ice cube, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can't say anything. I did partake in a little bit of the old Jim Beam Devil's Cut last night.
Yeah, Devil's Cut's better with ice.
You know, I like to cook with Devil's Cut, if I'm being honest with you, because you get that like real deep oaky,
and it's sweet too. It's like
those tannins that come out.
Yeah, it's real, and it's sweet too. It's like it's almost like cooking with like a sweet, like I don't even know, like it's yeah.
Did I make a mess on my desk here? Like
it's almost like cooking with like a dark red.
Dun 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 dun. Too early for that. So you don't think Paige fits into today's WWE, huh?
I think maybe putting her.
What if she comes in and she's like the director of the Secret Hervis?
Honestly, that would make me laugh real hard. Because actually, she is a better talker, and she would be a different talker than that. Okay, that would be interesting. All right.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. I mean,
it's not though. But that, like, I think you found the one place where that puzzle piece fits in. So I was thinking maybe on NXT. You know, as an occasional on-air talent, but
what? Excuse me?
As an occasional on-air talent, but mostly as a as a coach.
How fucking disrespectful that comment was, sir.
I'm sorry, you mean like
we're talking about a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer in the women's division, and you just said an occasional in-ring performer on NXT.
No, I didn't say in ring. Actually, I only said on screen. I actually don't think they're gonna let her wrestle.
I mean, that's the only way she's gonna come back is if you're gonna let her wrestle.
Well,
she's been doing it for the last 4 years. Get over yourself.
I mean,
Tom.
did she though? She didn't really wrestle.
No, I mean, she just did what everybody else in AEW does. She threw herself off of shit and cut her fucking forehead wide open a few times.
Like once a month.
Hey, that's where the best wrestle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, don't forget she was a world champion also in AEW.
Oh my god, I did forget. I forgot entirely about that.
For like 9 fucking whole weeks.
Yeah, I mean, she might have been.
Your kids went through an entire report card setting in school.
Yeah,
while she was the champion.
That's true. That's 2 whole pay-per-views for them. She was the champ on 2 whole pay-per-views. Probably 3 because she probably won it on a pay-per-view. And then,
I mean, and you know, they did have what could have been a really, really good faction until they went very, very strange NWO DX.
Yeah.
And then Tony Storm was just like, yeah, so about all of this.
And then Mariah,
somehow
Mariah May went.
Okay, I'm not 6-pack to your NWO here, all right? Because I'm fucking timeless. And then
Thunder tits.
Ruby Soho fucking got El Pregnato.
She did. I think she's done.
Hey, speaking of, since I'm speaking in, bad, broken Espanol, the Mexican folks are fucking pretty pissed at WWE.
What happened? I didn't hear this.
El Grande Americano.
Oh, and the AI stuff. I totally forgot about that. See, I thought that was hilarious.
I thought it was great.
It was hilarious. I laughed that entire segment. I think Chad Gable is, like Kurt Angle before him, better when he's being ironically hilarious. Like
that part.
Yeah. I mean, they're mad, but like that was the idea, right? Like he's a bad guy. You're supposed to be mad at him. He did that so that people would be mad at him. You're gonna make the bad guy apologize for being a bad guy? Get the fuck out of here. This is professional.
He's a heel.
Exactly. Like,
motherfucker.
This is professional wrestling. Like, this isn't okay. Like, that's what he's supposed to do. The fact that it was like shittily thrown together AI slop too. Like, you could absolutely tell it was first cut AI.
Hey man, I don't know why. He's a heel.
It was great. It was. I thought
I'm so mad.
That was some of the best heel work that was like that since probably like 1999.
That's the best heel since 1999. I created an oopsie.
May have created a new monster. You can go from samurai to emo, like.
Well, you know how the women have the bob, right? I call this the barb.
The barb.
I want to speak to your manager. Mm-hmm. Is she talking shit back there?
Been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed this week, the new one, Shadows, and it's full of samurai and shit. And I
got some shadows for you. Right down there.
You seeing shadows like your Andrade?
No. That bitch isn't big enough to see shadows. You know what I'm saying?
He's a little guy. He still gets time every Friday though, but it seems like it's the.
I'm not talking about Andrade. I'm talking about my wiener.
Oh, well.
Hey, listen, we have a Class A problem here. I lost my hair tie. Oh, I found it.
Oh, boy. Okay. Whew. Was a problem. We had a problem.
Hey, and I'm not
Really?
sure. I'm not sure if you know.
One big SOB. He is. One day, what's going to happen when Walt goes down is one day somebody who runs up and jumps into his arms, because this is how everybody greets Walt. They jump into his arms because he is one big SOB. And this is what you do. One day, somebody's going to do that, and he's going to go down, and he's not going to get back up.
Well, it might be tomorrow, bud, because I'll tell you what, the old man's back is starting to go.
Yeah. I'm finally getting over I started riding the bike. I told you, I'm finally getting over that lower back. I'm finally good enough at it now that I'm in the right posture and in the right position when I ride it, so that my
Well,
lower
you just
back.
don't want your German your German Peloton metal lady to yell at you.
My German muscle mommy.
9!
Get your fat ass off the seat now. It's not my ass.
You will pedal harder while I play this Rammstein.
Du hast. Pedal faster, du hast mich. That's exactly what it's like. It's exactly like what I just is I'm pretty sure that's happened verbatim on these Peloton. And it's hard sometimes to do these because when stuff like that happens, I do laugh at it. So I'm trying not to die, but I'm also dying of laughter at the same time. Yeah, I just got a prescription for that stuff.
My wife yells at me because I abuse the fuck out of this whenever I have allergies.
I mean, you gotta clear them shits out. It's only good, apparently. What the doctor said to me is you have to use it consistently. He only recommends using it twice a day, but whatever.
Well, it doesn't have a recommended use.
Oh, well, then it's fine.
Sometimes I'll just jam this bitch up in there 6, 7, 3, 400 times.
I mean, there's not enough in there for you to have a problem. So,
are you sure?
I mean, your eye might start to twitch, but who was counting?
Hey, so it's Monday, and I feel that it's appropriate that we talk about one Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Rob Van Dam. So he did an interview earlier this week, or it was on his podcast.
Oh, right, that was on his podcast. But
I don't know if it was on Chris Van Vliet, because I'm gonna tell you what, since the commute is no more, and I have an 8-minute drive to fucking work instead of the 48-minute drive that I used to enjoy, my podcast consumption is all but zero, which is extremely disappointing. But I think at the same point in time, it maybe allows me to form opinions of things on my own rather than hearing somebody else regurgitate information. But I feel very uninformed. Regardless, so he was said this week, whether it was on Chris Van Vliet or it was on his, one of a kind podcast, shameless plug for RVD, that the way AEW goes about their business isn't wrestling, and that makes him want to watch WWE and be a part of WWE.
Be associated with, yeah.
Yes. The internet's kind of chewing him up over this, and I was when you said this in the group message with friend of the show Derek Wright, who surprisingly was very quiet on that.
Yeah, I would have thought Derek would have had something to say about this. Derek and RVD have a lot in common.
I jumped all over RVD in our group message about this.
You did.
So let's have a conversation about RVD and gruesome, gory, hardcore wrestling. There, sir. So please allow me to,
Pontificate?
yes, after I listen to you give your opinion.
So I know that there's information and certainly matches to the contrary of what I'm about to say. But as far as the super hardcore stuff, that was generally not RVD. RVD generally only kicked chairs into guys' faces. Although, or
Oh
the
no,
Van
he
Daminator.
didn't go coast to coast on Shane McMahon with a fucking trash can and fucking
Well, that was the Van
break
Terminator.
break. No, it was the coast to coast.
Oh, right.
He was the first one to do that shit. Shane just took it from him.
That's true.
Forget the Van Terminator, okay?
Well, that's what the Van Terminator is, just with a chair, not a trash can.
Yeah, but it's a fucking spinning heel kick that
Yeah.
looks super devastating, by the way.
It
But
really does.
total control, but maybe not in ECW with those fucking jobbers.
He knocked the shit out of some of those guys. Rocco Rock took one where that chair bounced off his head because his head was already as hard as a rock. It bounced like almost into the crowd. It was like, and you could tell like everybody in the ring went because they thought it was going to land like in a fan's face, but it didn't. Can you breathe, or are you just no?
I'm good. Keep going.
Can you see God now? But anyway, as far as like RVD is concerned, I feel like he was the one like guy that actually wrestled versus having, and I think we have to clarify too what's like tables and ladders and chairs and very like,
oh my,
what was popular at the time versus like barbed wire and what he was talking about, which is that spike spot where John Moxley gets suplexed onto the spike and it gets stuck in Mox's back. I feel like I'd be remiss to point out that there are levels of this hardcore shit. And I feel like Rob Van Dam was closer to the wrestling side of that level as
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Are you in danger?
No?
Blink 3 times if you're being held captive.
By Rob Van Dam?
Like, I just don't. Are you seriously sitting here and trying to defend this to me right now?
No, not really, because you're right. Because he absolutely would. He was involved in a lot of stupid shit. Rob was high as a kite. And truth be told, when I first heard him start to talk about it, I'm like, well, I guess. Like, he was never like the worst. He wasn't Sabu levels. Okay. You prove me wrong.
No, we're good. That's just, you keep talking.
Rob Van Dam, Crimson Mask. Was that we're gonna pull up here, Rob?
No, I'm gonna pull up all the reasons why you said I was fucking crazy.
Oh, I didn't give you that many. Go ahead, go for it. We got any images of Rob Van Dam bleeding? The internet does not appear to have images of Rob Van Dam bleeding. Not that means shit about fuck,
but you did say that he did originate the jumping off of stupid shit.
Oh, absolutely. He's a number one jump off a dumb shit guy. He was Jeff Hardy. I think what I said was he was Jeff Hardy before Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
And then Jeff Hardy was like, I'm gonna jump off dumb shit too. And then sometimes they did it together. Because Jeff was a main event guy for a minute when Rob was a main event guy, and I know they had a ladder match or something, and they jumped off of dumb shit together at least once.
I think there's a little bit of merit to what you're saying, right? That Rob was more of a straight guy, like, going out, having good matches, letting his work rate, speak for itself, etc., etc., etc. But man, that's really that's a really weird stance to take whenever you made your name in a company that was known for being extreme. And I just, when this first broke, I think the first thing that I said wasn't he an ECW original?
That is what you said.
And it's like, it's really hard for me to want to be able to wrap my head around a comment like that. Despite that we're in 2025 or whatever. It's like, hey, bud, I remember in 1999 when you were doing some dumb shit.
When did he come to WWE? I feel like
It was probably 99.
Yeah, about 99. Because ECW was gone by before 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But I think the biggest piece of this picture here is he right?
Is Rob Van Dam right?
Yeah.
I mean, I hated that spot. I really did. I didn't think
it was not pretty.
I don't think it belonged on television. And I don't think John Moxley was the guy to do it either. You know what I mean?
What are we talking about? That man fucking blades on a back body drop.
Right, but that's the point, right? Is that it's always too much with him. So like if you're gonna just do a spot like it meant nothing. But it meant more than nothing because it was Mox, and it
was Vince Russo Shock TV, bub.
Yeah, it's all it was. But it's like Mox is the only guy that's doing it. It's like he's his own. He books himself shockingly, but it's not even shocking anymore. It's like because you knew as soon as they brought that Spike thing out during that match, which was a slog and was dog shit, by the way. As soon as they brought that out, I was like, that's getting stuck in somebody's back. And they did hit each other with it. Like, that's the other egregious part is they watered it down, too. First, by sort of hitting each other with it gingerly prior to that spot. So that Spike was involved for 20 minutes before Moxley fell on top of it. And so I feel like at that point, like we've already look at this commercial for some Jordans here. Look at these. Those are the LA Knight Jordans. Those are the ones LA Knight loves and had the boots made after. You're muted.
I was blowing my nose. Yeah, those are the Jordan 11s. Yeah. I just got those this week.
Yeah.
Really, really high on my must-have list. I also ordered a pair of Jordan 5s to match this shirt that should have been here today, but they got left at the old Pittsburgh Regional Airport. Yeah.
Be mad about that.
Yeah, so they'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, anyways, I'm sorry. I have a knack for derailing things.
It's okay. Oh, Jay is handcuffed. That's cool. What was I going to say? So yeah, I mean, it was just, it could have been a cool spot, I think, if it would have been shocking with somebody else. But the fact that Mox did it just kind of made what was already an ugly, gruesome spot a little bit more stupid because, you expected it, right? As soon as it came out, you were like, somebody's falling down on that. And it's going to be Mox because it ain't going to be Cope. Mox is going to touch him with that.
That's not going to work for me, brother.
Exactly. Because Mox is going to fall on top of that. And that's the thing. I'm sure he put that together himself. He's like, I'm going to fall down on this. It's going to be great. I can't wait to get it stuck in my back. You have to pick it out.
You're going to give me a back body drop on this.
It's going to be great. I'm not even going to have to blade because this thing's going to be stuck in me. I mean, it was an awful spot. And I don't know. I could see why Rob Van Dam wants to criticize it. It was just an awful spot.
I mean, wasn't he homies with Sabu?
I mean, Sabu was his best friend ever because Sabu is who broke him into ECW. But also, Sabu is an idiot. An idiot. Kind of also not a good wrestler. Sabu botched a lot of things, too. And I feel like we don't think about that as much as we should, but Sabu could have he was over in ECW, but if he was actually any good, he would have gone just as far as RVD in WWE, but he didn't. He had a few sporadic appearances, jumped through some shit, missed jumping through some shit, and that was about it.
Yeah. I mean, he made an AEW appearance not that long ago whenever MJF was putting Jericho through he was putting Jericho through the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. That's right, he did. I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. He was I feel like Sabu had a moment, and then by the time he made it to WWE, that moment was long gone.
I don't know, man. Like, it's just for me, it's a really weird, like, it's a really weird hill to die on if you're RVD.
It is, but also if you're RVD, man, I don't know, because like the latter half of his career in WWE, which was sporadic, let's be fair, and he was fucking high as a kite for all of it, but I mean, it was mostly wrestling matches and kicking chairs into people's faces, because obviously, but like it wasn't a lot of, he wasn't doing quite as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't quite as much like, I'm going to climb this ladder, I'm going to be 30 feet in the air, and then I'm going to jump. He kind of cut that shit out. And Jeff Hardy kept doing it, which is, different story, but I mean, that's what happened. And so like, I get it, because to Rob, he probably doesn't think about pre 2003 very often.
Probably not.
He probably can't really remember most of it. So that's kind of why I think he said what he said and where he went, where he went. He doesn't think of himself as a hardcore guy.
That's fair. That's fair. Hey, so hey, hello. What? Where'd he go? He's a goddamn magician. I looked down to get the next thing that I wanted to talk about and looked up. He was gone. Did he disappear? Huh? I hear him. He must have needed some more of that Jimmy Beam.
I literally shook it at the camera and went, and then ran away.
I was looking down. Hey,
I see.
So, internet's having fun this week at AEW's expense, for more than one thing, obviously. Wrestling Observer Newsletter has reported that the Hurt Syndicate versus the Murder Machines was originally planned for the AEW Dynasty pay-per-view, but they had to pivot to new challengers, going with Big Bill and Brian Keith. This was because Brian Cage suffered a knee injury on an independent show.
Ooh, I did hear about this.
So, I think that this circles back a couple of years now, when the three of us debated this being a bad thing for business.
I mean, it's very bad.
And here we are. It's reared its ugly head again.
Yeah. I mean, this is not, I don't think this is even the third time. It's the first time it's happened in a little while. But I don't even think this is the third time that this has happened. Like, we're on time like 6 or 8 or something. And I don't know how Tony can continue to let his guys work other shows, like especially guys who you have plans for. Like I think you got to say, hey,
softer than puppy shit, pal.
I know, but if there's plans like pay-per-view plans, $50 to watch this on television plans.
I mean, not that anybody fucking really cared whether it was Brian Cage and
it's true.
Lance Archer. Or
Murder.
whether it's Big Bill or Brian Keith. The result is going to be the same. The Hurt Syndicate and still,
yeah. I mean, I think that should be really the case. Like, Dynamite was weird this week. It was an interesting show. The whole segment with the Hurt Syndicate and MJF and MVP, kind of weird, and sort of left me questioning. Like, I feel like it's like one of those things where it's like, if AEW would occasionally go in interesting directions when they do like weird shit like this, I would be into it. But like generally it's going to be stupid, and like they're going to do whatever's the dumbest thing possible. So like, I feel like that didn't make sense, but the Hurt Syndicate as a whole, I feel like has looked strong, has been strong, and has been parts of the better part of AEW television since their sort of inception, right? And I feel like we're now sort of hitting, we may be hitting the end of the road where it's like they're not as shiny of new toys, and the ideas are bad now. Like we ran out of good ideas, and now it's just stupid ideas. Plus, we're throwing guys in like, Brian Cage, who now hurt his knee on an independent show. Probably because he's a fucking roided out monster whose, bones and sinew are ready to snap at a moment's notice. So, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, it's like you said, it doesn't really change anything, but it's certainly going to job the Bad Apple and Big Bill to Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Although I would kind of like to see Bobby Lashley give Big Bill a big spine buster. I think that would be a very interesting thing to watch. You're muted.
I'm sorry. Goddamn allergies, bro.
I know. I feel you.
Like I'm just out here trying to live my best life and like gotta blow my nose from time to time, and nobody wants to hear that. So like I keep muting myself so I can blow my nose.
And he forgets.
And then I forget.
Yeah, that's what happens.
So all that shit I said about being a pro earlier, I'm clearly not. Like big old fucking waste of space.
Well, you're just a man who's allergic to things being alive.
I guess. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. So, I mean, for me, like I said, man, it's whatever, right? Like,
yeah.
Fucking Jobber Team 1 or Jobber Team 2, it doesn't matter.
But the Murder Bird and where's Danhausen? I think Danhausen's still signed, but I think Danhausen's still signed, but not wrestling. He's wrestling on independent shows. Speaking of guys wrestling on independent shows, he's not hurt though. So I don't know. It's a lot of, like I said, I worry that this is like the end of the Hurt Syndicate's good ideas, and they're gonna just have a bad idea and then be relegated to guys that don't get entrance music anymore.
Yeah. Hey, so TNA did a thing this week.
They did.
They fired Gail Kim.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, Gail Kim goes on to say, just wanted to say thank you to the fans, friends, and especially my peers for all the support you have given me over the last few days. I've received such an enormous amount of love, and it really has helped process this change for me. More than anything, I'm grateful for all the years and opportunities I was given to help build something I have always dreamed of. The Knockouts division is and will always be my heart and all the women who were a part of it. Thanks to the incredibly hardworking and passionate TNA talent and crew that I've had the pleasure of working with, this will not end my passion or my love for wrestling. And this is not the end of Gail Kim in the wrestling world. You don't put 17 years in one company and stop when you are this passionate. I look forward to sharing my journey, and I'm taking some time for myself and prepare for what's ahead. Looking forward to the future. You think she's all elite, or you think she goes to WWE?
I feel like they had a big falling out. She and WWE. She's never been in AEW, so they haven't had a chance to have a falling out yet.
Yes, she had a falling out with Vince McMahon. She never falling out with Paul Levesque.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. How old is Gail Kim now?
She'll be in her late 40s, early 50s.
1977, which makes her 48. You are on the money. I mean, I guess she's about Trish Stratus's age.
Yeah.
So I think that at 48, it's an interesting thing because it's like, could she come back and be a full-time wrestler? And maybe she wants to be. Maybe she wants to be WWE's Serena Deeb. And I could see, that being a thing. See, there's $7 down the hatch. I could see that being a thing. I don't know that she gets like a main event title run on Raw if she comes back to WWE. Is there a spot for her at the Performance Center? Talk about, I hate to throw it back, but I was talking about Paige earlier. Does Gail Kim fit that role of occasional on-screen talent to say a thing or cut a promo or maybe wrestle a match against some up-and-comer who needs a Gail Kim to wrestle against, but mostly sit back and just teach classes and stuff with Matt Bloom and Shawn Michaels. I mean, did she fit into that role? Does she fit into that role? Is that what you do with her? I don't know. I think that she certainly has value, maybe not to TNA any longer, but I think that she certainly has value. I think she would have value on AEW's women's roster.
I think she does more good for AEW's women's roster than she does WWE's.
I feel like she would be a very steady hand, especially in the back.
Yeah, she doesn't even need to be an on-screen talent in AEW. She can just keep doing what she's doing and take over that women's division with Dustin Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully Kenny Omega's not still banging fucking Sheeta.
We haven't seen Sheeta in a long time.
Oh, so. Thank God! What a dumpster fire that brought.
So I think that I think the Sheeta ship maybe sailed along with the Britt Baker ship. We just didn't hear about it.
I mean, we're certainly hearing all sorts of drama around Britt Baker this week. That maybe is she gone? Is she not gone? Maybe she is. Maybe she's
coming back. Is she going to show up at Dynasty? Does she show up at Dynasty with a chair and hit Mercedes Moné in the head? Who knows?
I really hope Athena beats her.
Yeah, she's not gonna though.
No, fuck no.
She's not gonna. It's not gonna happen.
Tony Khan's got 7 figures why he's
not. There's 10 million reasons why.
Large part of the fiscal budget.
Yeah. She costs more than several arena tours have lost him in the last year. So they're just gonna keep letting her put belts on her arm and come out. Yeah.
CEO. Oh my God.
Have we even figured out what she's the CEO of?
Bad creative.
I think that's what you said last time I said this. So it rings true. It still rings true. The best thing that happened to her was Harley Cameron gave her some shine, but she was just the recipient of the Harley Cameron.
I still can't believe we didn't do anything with that.
With the puppet? I don't know why either. They let her beat Harley Cameron on a random Saturday. It wasn't even a Wednesday show. They beat her on a Collision.
They turned her into a chooch.
It did. She was so over. And she came out with the puppet. She had the fucking puppet. She would come out with the puppet and she would play the guitar and then she would have a pretty good match. This was like, God, I feel like Harley Cameron now just needs to go to WWE because she would be everything that they hoped Elias would be. Hilarious.
Hello, I am Elias.
But she would be hilarious and multi-talented and actually put on good matches, better matches than Elias did. He really
calm down. Okay, I'm not going to let you besmirch the goddamn good name of Elias, okay? I'm just not. All right.
What about Ezekiel?
That's a Pittsburgh original, bub.
He is. And also honestly, his run as Ezekiel with his little feud with Kevin Owens was probably the only
talking about his run as Ezekiel. That was his twin brother.
Yeah.
They were on TV at the same time together.
They were
sitting on a couch, sir.
Telling me that's not real? It was real, damn it.
You calm down. All right. Just listen. Ezekiel got hurt and Elias came back. Stop it.
And the whole family was there. Elrond. And Ernie.
Oh my God. R.I.P. Ernie.
R.I.P. Big Ern. So, hey, remember when the Miz's dad got in the ring?
I sure do. They still sell T-shirts of that.
It's worth it.
I
Good
think
for
they're like
Mrs. Dad.
$6.99 on WWE Shop right now.
Great. You know what? If it's only that cheap, maybe I need one. If it's in my size, it's probably just kid sizes now.
Probably. So Friday, we got a contract signing for what half of the world is saying the biggest triple threat in the history of the company, and half of the internet saying, "Who wants this shit?"
I do. Me.
Yeah, I
I
do
want it.
too. So, you know me, I always tend to find a good old internet opinion, right? This particular one piqued my interest.
This fucking guy. Yeah. Okay.
It says,
Oh boy.
why in the fuck are they turning Roman into a jobber? Think about it for a second. From multi WrestleMania main event to fighting to main event WrestleMania night 1, fighting other 2 glorified jobbers, just like CM Punk and Seth. I think it would have been best for business if they made it Cody versus Roman 3, and so on.
No.
Roman literally has no beef with CM Punk. All CM Punk did is throw him out of the ring. What else should CM Punk do? Because that's how Royal Rumble fights go. Roman should have won the Royal Rumble and challenged Cody because they have a real feud between them. And Cena can go win Elimination Chamber and challenge Gunther. And then they would have had the chance to turn Roman a babyface 100%, and Cody finally turning heel. Thanks to The Rock's offer. Simple as that.
See, I find what's going on 100% more interesting than that fantasy booking right there, especially after Friday. That may have been, while SmackDown otherwise was kind of a just like really long, loud fart, like a. But like
Excuse me, sir. Whatever happens inside of your 4 walls of your privacy of your home is none of my business.
Well, you were muted, so I had to do something interesting. Anyway, while the rest of SmackDown wasn't all that worthwhile, that segment in particular was one of the greatest segments in the history of SmackDown. I thought Punk was great. I thought Roman was great. I thought Paul Heyman was great. Seth was Seth, which I like, but I've been told that I'm an idiot and Seth Rollins actually sucks. I don't think he actually sucks, but
Seth Rollins is a generational talent, and I don't know why anybody would think otherwise.
It's just he's so good, and he's so passionate. He's just always there, and I understand how you could see him.
You wipe that tear out of your eye. You don't deserve this.
Exactly. Seth's going to give the same promo that John Cena gave the last couple weeks, except he's actually going to mean it, and he's going to be right.
I don't have issue with the promos that John Cena's cut the last couple of weeks, and I don't want to get derailed off of this, and I will get into my opinion on John Cena's heel turn with this next opinion piece once we get there. Before we round third and slide into home plate for the Inside the Park home run, man, I loved everything about that segment, right? And I think that, you know, Roman Reigns has found his sweet spot now by himself, where like he's like the shit talking, I'm the best and I fucking know it guy that he was like early on, not early on, but like the middle portion.
Yeah, pre-suffering succotash. Or yeah.
You know, and I'm here for it. You know, he's like, oh, you know, come here to sign a contract. Check. Come here to get acknowledged. Check. Come here to grant a favor. Check. You know, main event because of me. Yeah, because of me.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So the internet has taken CM Punk to task because, you know, the promo.
You muted yourself.
How did I even do that? I didn't touch anything. Did you hear anything I fucking said?
No, I heard the promo, but
Okay, so you heard the check thing then, right?
check. I heard the check thing.
Okay, so what the fuck? I didn't even touch my mouse. All right, whatever. Fucking, I guess it's the ghost of wrestling's past.
It's spooky.
There's the spooky spider. That's my kid. Oh, look at the spooky spider. But the internet's taking fucking CM Punk to task here a little bit because of the promo that he cut with MJF when he said, "Oh, you want me to go back? You want to go there and be the main event of a Saturday night or a Saturday's matinee on a fucking 4-night special or whatever the fuck he said." And everybody is insinuating that this match will main event night 1 of WrestleMania, when I'm here to tell you that Roman Reigns, this is not going to main event night 1. Roman Reigns will main event night 2. And I believe that Cody Rhodes will main event night 1.
I'd have to go back and listen and think about, because Cody mentioned that today in his promo today. So I don't know if that like chips things in because I immediately jumped on here. But you're right. You might be right. He may have just said.
I said it a few weeks ago, bud, and you kind of shit all over the notion of it. But now I'm saying it again. I'm just saying. It makes an awful lot of sense.
I think whether or not Cody versus Cena main events night 2 wholly depends on whether or not Cody is retaining. If Cody is retaining, I agree. It definitely main events night 1. If we get an official lineup and it is the main event of night 1, Cody retains.
In 2025, Roman Reigns and CM Punk are a bigger deal than John Cena or Cody Rhodes. I said what I said.
You're right. But again, I think the title changing hands from Cody Rhodes to John Cena is a bigger deal than no title. And that's just my opinion. So I think that you're right, but it depends.
That's because deep down in your core, you're a purist.
Absolutely.
Okay, but the internet would lead you to believe that Triple H and Tony Khan are booking for wrestling marks as opposed to booking for business.
I don't think Triple H. I think Triple H is booking for business, but I think that he's booking time for marks. But it's also like, if there's not going to be a title change, there's no reason for Cena versus Cody to go on night 2. If there's not going to be a title change.
I mean, it's going to go on main event night 1, regardless if there's a title change or not, bud. I hate to let everybody down.
On the title change. I think it depends on whether or not there's a title change.
It just doesn't.
It's just my opinion.
Who sells the most T-shirts in WWE? Cody Rhodes and John Cena combined, or Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins combined?
It's probably CM Punk over everybody else, but yeah, it's
because all 5 of those guys in merchandising have to be extremely close.
Yeah, I would say honestly, it's probably because like the CM Punk shirts, and I've seen a lot of OTC shirts. Now that I think about it, and
I love that they tried to get the YTC over, and that lasted all of 2 weeks, and then Roman comes out on Friday wearing an OTC shirt.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of OTC shirts.
That's the dumb shit that I recognize, though.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of OTC shirts. But I feel like I've seen a lot more CM Punk shirts are kind of, but who knows? Are they new? Or are they old? Because it's hard to say. There's a longevity there. I don't know. Are they AEW or are they WWE? Because they're kind of the same shirt. They're all some version of like that with some lightning bolts and some white shirt with some black trim.
I've got a couple Roman Reigns T-shirts. They're all the same, but they're all fucking sweet.
They are.
And I swiped the old credit card to buy them. I'm
I want
just
more-
saying.
I want another OG Wreck Everyone and Leave shirt. Honestly,
I bet you they're still on the old shop.
they were not. I tried. I wanted one, but they are not. At least not in my size. They might be in like kid sizes. I usually filter by like 2X and just go from there.
Even though you don't need a 2X hurt.
Well, I mean, I just
You're clearly an extra large, Tom.
yeah, I am, but like, you know, I like things that are big and loose so that I can like, you know,
So that you can look fat.
so that I can shrink them. Actually, that's the. I'm bad at washing clothes, Walt. I'm bad at washing clothes. Shrink everything.
I want to die.
I'm sorry.
Like, I am so fucking miserable.
I'm sorry. Take some Claret.
Hey, so let's talk about Linda Hogan.
Oh my god. Oh, I forgot we were even going to talk about this. Wow, what a train wreck. Wow. What the actual fuck happened? Like, you sent me that video and I put it on and I watched the whole thing and I went, I can't believe she is saying this. Because like number one, fuck Hulk Hogan, right? Like he's a dipshit and he's an asshole. But like, am I wrong to say that Linda's worse and that like she left him? Like, didn't she cheat on him first? Am I wrong in this?
I don't think she cheated on him. I think she just left his ass.
Right, she left him and then started banging her son's friend.
Yeah,
Absolutely what happened. I mean, whether or not Hulk cheated prior to that, that's absolutely what happened. I mean, and he probably did. Let's be fair. Like, he was this hot dog looking giant motherfucker. I am certain there were ladies throwing themselves at him day in, day out for the whatever 23 or 25 years they were married. But that being said,
I mean, at one point in time, he was fucking.
I think that was before they got married, though. I think they got married in the 90s. Like in the 80s, he was 6'8", 320, solid steel,
Allegedly.
26-inch pythons, brother.
24-inch pythons.
24-inch.
Okay, don't inflate the already inflated. That's like saying there was 93,000 people at WrestleMania 3.
I mean, maybe if you count everybody watching at home.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, there are millions and millions watching at home.
Hey, speaking of, and not to derail from Linda Hogan and the whole beef going on there, Russo's at it again, bro, saying that fucking The Rock's taking over creative from Triple H at some point this year after WrestleMania.
Rock's not. Everything Sportskeeda puts out is absolute horseshit.
Well, they gotta get their clicks in because they can pay that ridiculous contract that they paid Vince Russo.
That anything Sportskeeda puts out is holy horseshit.
This one, this is the most egregious way that they covered Vince Russo this time, because usually it's like former head of creative or former creative writer or former creative mastermind. This time they were like former WWE veteran.
Yeah.
So I clicked on it, right? And I'm like, this has got to be fucking Russo. There's no way this isn't Russo. I'm going to look.
They have to hide who
And then
it
I
is.
scroll down like 2 scrolls into the second paragraph and I see his fucking name. And I'm like, these motherfuckers get me every time.
Everything Sportskeeda puts out is holy horseshit. Whether it's Russo based or not, it is horseshit. There is not like, I'm not sure these guys watch wrestling. I think they just speculate on wrestling.
Rather just Dave Meltzer.
Dave Meltzer definitely does not watch wrestling. I think that these guys purely speculate on wrestling based on what they've read is going on. They just look at a match card. They don't even read. Like they look at a match card when it comes up and they speculate purely on that picture. That's it. They have nothing else to say about it. I mean, and obviously The Rock being around and Triple H being in charge is in the rules. So like for Vince Russo to be like, grab the lowest hanging apple. Oh, The Rock is absolutely going to take creative away from Triple H so that The Rock can go from arena to arena every week and be backstage and be there, at noon and stay there until we put in 11, 10, 11, 12-hour days. That's not what's going to happen. Like, logistically, The Rock is not going to take over creative. He does not want that job. He wants nothing to do with that job. He wants to continue to make 6 to 8 movies a year mediocrely and make $1 billion plus every year prior to the movie making a penny. He's got like a 13 movie deal with Amazon still that he's like 5 movies in or 4 movies into. Like, it's not this. That is logistic nonsense. Before it just being like actual nonsense, like logistically, that's not going to happen. What Triple H does and what The Rock does not have time to do what Triple H does and continue to be The Rock. And he's got too much money already tied into him, too many contracts signed for that to be the case. This is nonsense. Why are you in the dark?
I'm back.
You never left. You were just in the dark.
What do you mean?
Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry. I was doing things.
Oh, things was happening. Anyway, it's fucking nonsense. Like that, logistically, actually, The Rock's just gonna retire from his massive movie career deals and just book fucking wrestling on Mondays and Fridays in person. Like, get the fuck out of here.
What, you don't think that could be a thing?
No, I don't think that could be a thing. I don't think there's any reality where that's a thing. No, absolutely not.
I don't think so either. And like Vince Russo, dude, he just needs to shut the fuck up.
He doesn't even you can look at it plainly on its face, right? You can look at it just and say, is The Rock going to show up every Monday and Friday in a different city and put the work in to write, book, have meetings, and do all the corporate shit, right? Sit in all the talent meetings and all that shit. The Rock was never that guy. Triple H was always that guy. He was the guy in the room with creative. He was that was him. He was on the booking committee. He sat there in the room with his feet up on the table with fucking Pat Patterson and Jerry Briscoe and everybody else. Like, he was in there with and Vince McMahon. He was in there with those guys. The Rock was not in there with those guys. The Rock came in to sell his shit and, hey, this is what my writer came up with and yada, yada, yada. But he was not there helping put things together. That's what Triple H has been doing for 30 years. Like, when he was an active wrestler, like even in like the late 90s, he was in there.
I think the belief is not so much The Rock as much as it is Brian Gewirtz.
I mean, Brian Gewirtz is probably going to be in the room, but that doesn't mean that Triple H ain't going to be.
Well, there's lots of rumors that Triple H and The Rock are having a lot of creative disagreements leading into WrestleMania, which is why The Rock has not been involved in the build-up to WrestleMania.
Maybe that's the case, but even if that's the case, I don't think that. I still don't see it. It's just not the way Vince Russo is putting it. It's not a feasible thing. They're making too much money to just cut the head off the dragon at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like all this talk about the booking's been sour and this, that, and the third, that's just preposterous.
I mean, I feel like so I've had an argument, not an argument, but like a long discussion this week about how nobody remembers anything pre-2020. Nobody remembers what happened before the pandemic started. What was WWE like in 2019? What was it like in 2018? Fucking 2017? Like, where we are right now, has it evened out a little? Yeah, it's not the fucking middle of the bloodline feud where it was like, oh my god, like I can't wait to see another. Like, I need to see more of this right fucking now. Like, you cannot hit that high and maintain that. They couldn't. It wasn't possible. That's not to say that anything that's going on right now is bad. It is just not up here. And we have this like capitalist mindset where it's just like, oh, everything's always got to go up. And it's like, that is absolutely not how pro wrestling works. It ebbs and flows. But like, there was a point in time. So we ebb and flow way up here now. But there was a point in time we ebbed and flowed way down here. And he has taken this ebb and flow from down here to way up here. And I think that is like, are we on a little bit of a dip down, but maybe a start of the crest up? Yeah, a little bit. But like from here in 2019 to here is where we are. Like we are comparing apples to dog shit.
I'll tell you one thing. 2018, 2019 Monday Night Raw would not be on Netflix.
No. 2018, 2019 Monday Night Raw would probably, like, USA probably didn't want them to be on USA. They just signed a deal that was too long at that point. Like, that shit was bad. There was talk at that point in time of like, oh shit, like, what if AEW overtakes Raw? And that was a legitimate like thought, right? Like that
happened a couple of times that AEW beat Raw in the ratings.
Like in certain parts of the rate, not in the, like the actual ratings, but in the like
the demo for sure.
Demos, absolutely in demos.
Because that's when Jericho was calling himself the demo god.
Yeah, like during that first the what was the whatever Jericho's first faction was versus the Elite, like that
Inner Circle,
the Inner Circle, right, versus the Elite. That was great. Like that was like holy shit! Look where we started with this. Oh my god. What if it only gets better from here? Unfortunately, it fucking hit a cliff and went. But like at that point in time, Raw was like, but like Triple H has taken it for, like I said, from like the sine wave being down here to like way up here, and it's just so much better. And you can't live here the whole time because then these moments don't matter as much. So I think that the next year is going to be really good, but right now we're just sort of at a point where we're sort of on the uptick. Like we were on this high, and now we got to come down from the bloodline a little bit, and so we can build it back up again. And I think that's just how wrestling is. So the fact that we're in the dip right now, and it still is pretty fucking good.
Yes.
Like, let's be fair. This at any point in time, this would have been a high point in in WWE, right? Like at most points in time, other than like points in 1999 and 2001, like this would have been a high point in WWE. But we're on like the low part of the curve. This is just how pro wrestling works. You have to go back down after you're up so that you can go back up again. It's just the nature of how this works and how this is booked and how everything's going to be. So I would be stunned if we're not talking about, oh my God, WWE is on fire again in another, 8 months to a year. WrestleMania next year is going to be way better than this year.
I agree. So we kind of digressed there. We were talking about Linda Hogan and the whole Hulk Hogan situation, and somehow I put us on Vince Russo, which led to that whole shtick.
All else I have to say about that is that Linda is probably the only person who can get Hulk sympathy, and if so, this is a work. Although, what happened to her face? Were those bruises? What's going on?
I felt like they were moles or something. Like, I'm not really sure, bud.
Like they were huge. They looked like bruises. Like or she was dressed up like a witch. Like that looked like a bruise. Like somebody grabbed her face and it bruised. That's what it looked like to me.
Maybe it was Brooke. Maybe Brooke was like, "You listen to me, woman."
But like that would have been after that, right?
I don't fucking know. Brooke's on the Twitter machine talking shit now. I guess they haven't talked for a few years.
7 allegedly, or 8.
Which
leads me to believe that like Linda's just as bad.
Well, I mean, she hasn't talked to Terry either since the TNA days.
And she did say that like when he got remarried, when was that? Last year, 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago.
She was like, I'm not going to go for my own mental health but I wish everybody involved a good time, and or something. That was the gist of what she had said, and it was like, oh. Not gonna lie, had a huge crush on Brooke Hogan.
Oh yeah,
back in the Hogan Knows Days best. I was like, oh, step on me, muscle mommy.
No doubt.
But because she's a few years older than we are, so like, it was definitely a kind of thing. But we were children. What did we know?
Yeah, for sure. So
What did we know that they were all just terrible people? I'm
Yeah.
sure Brooke's not a great person either. Like, look who her parents are, for fuck's sake.
No doubt. And I imagine that's going to continue to unfold over the next couple of weeks in the public eye. And I'm sure we'll touch on it again. But regardless, man, it was a wild scene this week.
That was the crazy, like, of all the things that could have happened in pro wrestling, that was the one that I was just like, Linda Hogan? Why would I be watching something about Linda Hogan? She's not dead? Oh God, what the fuck happened? Like it was so shocking. That's the shock value that Vince Russo wants to have. She nailed that to tie it all up in a bow.
Yeah, for sure.
Nailed that shock value. I was shocked. I'm still shocked.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting proposition moving forward. I got two more things that we need to kind of touch on here. Then we'll round it out with the world famous One Fall WrestleCast match of the week. If you're still hanging out with us, man, we appreciate you. You go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Maybe even consider subscribing. We would greatly appreciate it. So I've got another opinion piece. We've been in here today and we've kind of, talked about some of the high spots, so to speak, for us with the John Cena heel turn. This particular opinion piece doesn't necessarily agree. And here's what it says. It says John Cena is killing his heel turn every time he drops a promo. At this point, it's not making any sense at all. Sorry, a low-level threat to bring back the spinner belt or crying about the fan base isn't going to change my mind about it. The problem is that unless Cena does something horribly drastic, people are still going to cheer for him. In other words, he's going to have the same split audience that he had before the heel turn. People will still cheer for him, and people will still boo him. In other words, there's no traction. People have been wanting a Cena heel turn for years. They finally got it. And now that they have it, half of the audience is satisfied. Cena has threatened to win his 17th championship and leave with the belt from WWE directly afterwards. I would say this. Who cares? Really, who cares? There's this concept in wrestling called stripping the title from the champion. Would that not happen if Cena didn't defend the belt? This week's Cena promo on Raw was pretty much a carbon copy of last week's Cena promo on Raw. We get it, John. We're making things so easy for you. We get it. We've been awful, though no one is actually buying that. We get it. Half the things you say are justified, but that doesn't make a good heel or even a good opponent for babyface Cody Rhodes. No, we need something a little more drastic than that. And no, a beatdown won't do. No matter what, when WrestleMania 41 rolls around, there will still be people cheering for John Cena, and that certainly doesn't help. Cena's promos seem like a week in, week out case presented by him to explain to us why we shouldn't like him. Well, sorry, but that's been going on for the last 25 years. I doubt very seriously he's going to change any minds now. As the weeks go on, this is going to be less and less intriguing and entertaining. They had better change course very quickly and figure out a way to keep anticipation for this match high, because having John Cena come out and whine every week just simply won't cut it.
So I get it. I get the take. I understand. But also, like, fuck you kind of a take. Like, and I feel like that's sort of the, like, especially after a night where they finally, like, exchanged words. And I know this was, we have the opportunity of hindsight. But I feel like they've just sort of been sprinkling this out and sort of building it as we go. I think one of the nice things about it, though, and obviously, like the obvious thing about it too, is that like they were waiting to do this, and they are doing what they were doing, but they're on a European tour right now, which kind of tends to be, hey, this show, this guy, these guys are going to see this show, and these guys, and those first two promos were actually very similar. It was he's not wrong in that. That being said, the fact they're on a European tour and it's not a pre-taped televised show, it makes sense, right? It's a like my mind always goes back to the logistics of booking wrestling as well, because where it's like, well, this makes sense because it's a live show and it's happening right now, and they're in a different city. So like we're gonna recap a little bit, but we're also gonna give you a little more to this story that we gave you last week, but it's gonna kind of rehash what we did last week first. Because what if you were busy on Monday, but you bought tickets for the front row this Monday? And that's sort of like, I feel like how wrestling works anyway, is that like we're sort of like working in 2-week spans, right? It's like, well, here's what happened last week. Here's what's happening now. And then we move forward. And it's like, here's what happened last week. Here's what's happening now. And that's kind of how wrestling is booked. So when you get two promos that are very similar 2 weeks in a row, it's like, well, that's because we're just carrying over what we did last week. We're building on it, and then we're going to move on next week. But it's also going to be a little bit about what happened last week, and bump, 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 bump. And that's how wrestling works, because that's how they bounce from town to town to town. And so this was very much that. And I don't think that it was very much that, not on purpose, because these are like two of the biggest guys, and they've not really been in Europe. Like John Cena's not been in Europe in a while. They said today that Raw hadn't been in London in 6 years. So, I mean, at this point, like 6 years is like 2019. So the last time it was in London, they stunk the joint out. So, like, yeah, we're going to start the show with John Cena and Cody Rhodes, because the last time we were here, we started the show with Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, and like that really didn't work so good. Nobody liked that. So let's up the ante a little bit. But like at the same time, they had to do that because the last time they were on the European tour, the show that was in Glasgow also started with probably Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, but like it wasn't any good still.
Jeffrey Penis,
exactly. That probably was the origination of like the Jeffrey Penis joke, if I'm being honest.
You know what? All of this nonsense surrounding John Cena and the heel turn, I think everybody just needs to calm the fuck down. I think that it's been very well done. I think that he's taking us on a storytelling ride, which he's always been able to do. And I can see why some folks on the internet are critical. But at the same point in time, you know, this particular opinion, it's like, yeah, half the audience is going to cheer and half the audience is going to boo. But you know what? That could be said about a lot of people.
I feel like regardless of what John Cena did, big, not big, I feel like this was big. That was going to be the case anyway. Like half people were going to cheer it, half people were going to boo it, because a lot of us were like, "Oh my God, John Cena's turning heel, and we're all for it," and we're the half that's going to cheer. But like, you know, then there's the people who were like, "We wanted to see John Cena," or either they came to see John Cena because he was their hero based on what they watched on, you know, the reruns that they have seen, or like from what they remember, he was their hero because he was the big guy, because they're very casual fans. And like now it's like, oh, he's a bad guy. I wanted him to be a good guy. That's why I'm here, for him to be a good guy. But he still looks like the good guy, John Cena. Doesn't look like so. You were always going to get that with somebody this big. You get that with The Rock. Like The Rock is look. Honestly, The Rock has been less good at pro wrestling and talking about pro wrestling and giving promos within pro wrestling than John Cena, and he still gets half cheered and half booed. Like Cena's actually doing it well. You're just kind of looking at a guy who was always going to get that because he sort of transcended it as sort of this like babyface people wanted to hate, but also this babyface who was Superman. And you know, Cody was like, Superman's dead, like this week. and he told John that he was still his hero, hence my Cody's hero. But he was also an asshole, and then John berated him about cursing in front of the live audience. But it's just such it's they've done such a good job kind of giving a little bit more every week, because like I said, it's very like boop 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 boop. This is the first time in whatever it's been, I think 3 weeks before this, but like for 3 weeks they did not interact. Like John Cena would give a promo, then Cody would show up and give a promo, and no, they're never the twigs shall meet. They just walked. John Cena just walked by him.
Loved it.
They interacted this week, and then it got a little physical there. So it was a very big and fast shift to the right, but it means we're still drip feeding it. We're not to WrestleMania yet, so it's still a drip feed, but it's been a good drip feed, and the crowds have gotten the first 20 minutes of pretty much every show has been, hey, here's Cody Rhodes and John Cena. People we know you like based on t-shirt sales.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm into it, and everybody just needs to calm down, be patient, and just see where the road to WrestleMania takes us.
You're not going to get all the swerves you want. It's just not going to happen.
It's just not going to be that way. So let's just chill out and let's just enjoy it for what it is. I don't know. I think that the internet is up in arms about this Cena heel turn, and everybody just needs to calm down a little bit, and let's just see what happens.
Because they want the dopamine high of the crazy swerve. And you can't just do that all the time, because then it's boring. Swerve again?
Yeah. Just chill. Just wait. Just wait.
Enjoy the status quo for the moment, because something's going to happen, and you don't know when. I don't know when. I'm just saying something's going to happen.
So Lex Luger is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Sure is, as is the Natural Disasters, which we announced tonight officially.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That happened on Raw.
Nice. So Lex himself has asked, has implied that he would love to have Sting induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame.
I think that makes sense.
I think it makes a ton of sense. Well, Sting is still under an AEW contract.
Oh, shit, he is. That makes that difficult.
So the internet has been debating this past couple of weeks on what that should look like. Eric Bischoff has even gone as far as to say that Tony Khan needs to be the bigger man and let Sting go and do it, because it's not the WWE is asking for Sting to induct Lex Luger. Lex Luger is asking for Sting to induct Lex Luger.
I mean, I would agree with that, but we all know that's not how that works.
That's not how that works, and the narrative has been, well, WWE, AEW needs to let this, and AEW needs to let that. But if that's what we're trying to accomplish, WWE's taken quite a few, really strange pot shots at AEW this week.
They today, actually.
5 or 6 different references in the last 7 days across 4 different shows.
Cody made a mention of it, as did John Cena tonight.
I think it's a bit much. And, we were very critical of when AEW was doing it.
Yeah, no, it feels... I hate that that this is the thing that comes down to everybody's going to be petty about it, but it's it's always something like this, right? Where the pettiness comes out. It's something that is very genuine, where both sides should come together and be like, okay, all right, this makes sense. The logistics of this work, this makes sense, but it's. Both sides have poked the bear so much, and that wound is so sore that both sides are anytime either or go, it's going to be this. It's going to be just fuck off. No, absolutely not. Especially after it happened sort of in the infancy of AEW when Billy Gunn was inducted with DX, and they just were like, yeah, you work for that t-shirt company. And I don't think they're going to let that happen again, especially not for guys who are under their contract still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just think and I think it's going to be a hard and fast rule. I don't think it's going to be.
But in the meantime, we're letting our talent go work independent shows while they're
And
in
get
the
hurt.
middle of a giant fucking they're in the middle of a pay-per-view build.
Mhm.
And then they get hurt.
Yeah. Oh no, I twisted my ankle. I would say that this is probably going to be the end of Brian Cage's AEW anything. Like, I'm sure he was allowed to work this match, but the fact that he got hurt there, this is probably the end because, yeah, I feel like it's been
I'm
the
fairly
end.
certain this isn't the first time that he's been
No,
in a
he tore a
pay-per-view
bicep.
build and gotten hurt on an independent show.
He tore a bicep once,
And then we didn't see him for over a year.
We didn't, and he was fine, and he was like bitching about it because like he was out for 6 months with a torn bicep, and then he bitched about not getting booked on Twitter for like a little while,
And then his wife started bitching.
Yeah, that's right. And then magically he showed up in Ring of Honor, and that's where he's been until now. But maybe strike two is that's it.
So where are you at on this? Do you think Tony Khan should be the bigger man and let Sting go induct Lex Luger?
Honestly, probably not. Like, I mean, would I prefer to see it, me personally? Yes, I would prefer to see Sting induct Lex Luger. If I'm Tony Khan, do I let Sting induct Lex Luger? No. Maybe if he can wear his AEW Sting shirt and it says AEW. But that's not going to happen either because obviously they're all going to walk up there without. He's going to walk up there without face paint in a suit and do it. I just don't see a world where this happens. Would I prefer to see that? That's the speech I want to hear. That's not the speech we're going to get, and that's unfortunate.
No, I agree. So, it really seems like it's going to be DDP being the one.
I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense too. I don't think that's a problem. I think that's almost as good. It's 90%.
So, we'll stay posted on this for sure. Wholeheartedly 100%, but I definitely don't see a world where Sting inducts Lex Luger into the WWE Hall.
I would love it. Look, I say this all the time. I would love to be wrong. I would absolutely love to be wrong because this is 100% what I want to hear, who I want to give it, and I want him to be given basically unlimited time. I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell we get that.
I don't either. So we'll just have to stay tuned, see what happens. I guess we won't know until Friday before WrestleMania, post SmackDown. And we'll just keep our eyes open on the situation.
Very excited for that Friday.
Much like everything else. So, well, Tom, I really feel like there's only one more thing that we need to do. And that's the world famous One Fall WrestleCast match of the week.
So I feel like I would be remiss by not choosing this match of the week. So this is my match of the week. My match of the week was actually from SmackDown, which otherwise was, besides the main event, this was the other high point of the show. Besides the main event, like the signing, all that, this was the other high point of the show, was the tag team title match on SmackDown. The tag team division on SmackDown continues to have my interest.
Absolutely great right now.
Which was Pretty Deadly versus the champions, the Street Profits. I thought that I was worried going into this that Pretty Deadly would not stand a chance and that they would get sort of squashed by the Street Profits. That was not the case, however. It was, and still the Street Profits, it wouldn't have made sense for them to drop the titles at this point. But I thought that Pretty Deadly, who has been building momentum and having much stronger matches and much stronger segments in matches week in and week out, and been looking good while doing it. Yes, boy. They did put on their title match this week, and I thought it was a banger. I enjoyed. I thought
Yes,
you
boy.
forget how like yoked of dudes Pretty Deadly are. Like these dudes are yoked, and I thought that this really showcased how like they brought their A game. Like they were, they had been working towards this match, and they had been getting their fitness up. They'd been getting everything in shape. Doing like this was their like WrestleMania type of deal, and they really brought it. And I thought that this was a great showcase of them. I hope that this continues their upward momentum. And I thought it was a great title defense too for Street Pro. I think the Street Profits are great champions, and like I've said before, I hope they have a long reign, but I also want to see Pretty Deadly have a good reign too on the main roster because I think they're great, and I think they showcased it on Friday.
Absolutely. We had talked about a couple weeks ago that we felt like they could win the titles on Friday against the Street Profits, and it would have made perfect sense. While it didn't make sense, it could have made sense.
Well, if it was dastardly, right? If it was a like somebody fucked somebody over kind of thing that leads to a big, thing at WrestleMania, like, but they could be going into WrestleMania as champions, which would have been, I can't imagine wasn't on the table at some point. They couldn't have been like, hey, want to throw some fuckery out here and like maybe we do this, but it was like, we got fuckery going on with this Chad Gable thing. We got this women's triple threat match thing that's going to be kind of weird. So,
yeah, I don't know. I think that we do live in a world where sooner rather than later, Pretty Deadly will be the tag team champions. We just have to wait and see. I feel like
what if they walk out of WrestleMania tag team champions? That'd be crazy.
I think it'd be awesome.
What if they don't? And what if they don't pin the Street Profits? And then we do some bullshit where we hot potato them because like that's what they've been doing anyway. But like that could be cool. So many cool things that could happen, and I feel like the tag team division's really holding SmackDown together because like their champion Cody has been on Monday, like always, like for months. So yeah,
I agree.
Really, the glue holding Fridays together here.
Well, I guess it's that time.
No, you got to give your match.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Guess it's invalid file type. What? That's preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. All right. I guess we just don't get to do this the way that I wanted to do it.
You broke it.
I did broke it.
You broke it.
And I'm going to try one more time just because this is entirely anticlimactic, but keep saying invalid file type. My match of the week was for Monday Night Raw, and it was Dragon Lee versus El Grande Americano.
That was great too.
I really felt like that was the best wrestling match of the entire week.
They really brought it, and like that match was hard. That's a hard match to say was the best match of the week because like I laughed my ass off probably 2 minutes into that. I was still laughing probably 2 minutes into that match. But yeah, man, those guys just were like they just brought it. It was like Chad Gable was like, I could do a Lucha Underground match.
Who?
No problem. I'm actually going to do this better than everybody who was ever on Lucha Underground.
No. Chad Gable wasn't in that match.
Right. El
Grande Americano
yeah.
versus Dragon Lee.
I love that that's a coffee reference, like a Starbucks coffee.
Well, the large American.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can get a Grande Americano at Starbucks. You roll up to the driver, Grande Americano. They're going to give you a coffee with cream and a shot of espresso. That's what that is.
I'm just saying.
Put it in the Grande cup.
El Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee was a phenomenal piece of business. And I would quite honestly like to see it again.
Hopefully they run it back this week.
And
with a
hopefully, this week coming up, we get the long anticipated Dragon Lee versus Chad Gable. Obviously Chad Gable wasn't feeling well; he was a little under the weather, got sick on the
poor
plane
guy.
ride.
I hope he feels better.
So I would like to see Chad Gable versus Dragon Lee. I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe not going to Suplex City, but we could certainly go to Suplex Village. Because Chad Gable is a Suplex Village kind of, the mayor of Suplex Village.
He had a tummy ache though, so
Yeah, he did. He had
I
a
feel
little
like
tummy
going
ache.
to Suplex Village as opposed to Suplex City or even like Suplex Town. Go to Suplex Village. I feel like that's fine, especially after having such a tummy ache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And graciously he stepped aside for El Grande Americano, and
A giver, that guy, really a giver.
so I did. I thought it was a good match, and hell of a WWE debut for El Grande Americano.
See.
Gracias. Hey, check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall_WC. That's ONE. If you're still hanging out with us, man, we appreciate you. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. Maybe even consider subscribing. Would really, really help us out. I thought today was pretty dope. Glad we had some time. I appreciate you guys being flexible with my new crazy work schedule. Mostly you, Tom.
I don't have better things going on. Let's be fair.
Your words, not mine. So, yeah. So as always, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast.
I thought for sure your match